Winners have emerged after the People's Democratic Party conducted its governorship primaries across the states of the Federation. Among the winners from Wednesday's primaries was Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, who won the contest held in Ibadan, the state capital. The incumbent polled a total of 1,040 votes from Oyo delegates to defeat his sole opponent, Mr. Hazim Bolarumi, who had only 2 votes. 6 other votes were recorded as void. Also declared winner was Governor Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State, who is seeking to extend his tenure in office by another term. In Ogun State, Segun Showunmi emerged as the winner of a parallel primary election of the PDP. The former spokesman for the PDP presidential campaign polled 554 votes to defeat his fellow aspirants Jimmy Lawal and Ladi Adebutu, who scored 30 and 15 votes, respectively. In Enugu State, a former commissioner for finance, Peter Mba, was also declared the winner. Other winners include the Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly, Titus Uba, the Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, Sheriff Obo Wori. In Rivers, the immediate past Accountant General of the state, Similayi Fubara, emerged as the governorship candidate of the PDP after polling the highest number of votes in the primary. Mohammed Bade emerged as the PDP candidate in Gombe State. Governor Udom Emmanuel's preferred successor, Umo Eno, won the PDP governorship primary in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Eno, a former commissioner for lands and water resources in the state, scored 993 votes to clinch the party's ticket for the 2023 governorship election. While in Kano State, son of the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, Muhammad Abacha emerged winner of the People's Democratic Party primary election. In Bauchi State, Ibrahim Kashim, the immediate past secretary to the state government, emerged as the party's governorship candidate for 2023 general election. Joining us now for a breakdown of how the PDP governorship primaries went in the state is a lawyer, newspaper columnist, and former chairman of the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, Dr. Sam Amadi. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. Now, I'd like your assessment.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like your assessment of the conduct of the PDP primary, especially that of Lagos, where a newcomer to the PDP, Olajide Adediran, popularly known as Jandor, claimed the ticket. What does this mean for the PDP? What does this mean for the APC, where Jandor defected from? And what does this mean for the whole of Lagos State?
First, we knew that we saw Jandor had his first outing, if you like, a couple of months ago, where he literally locked down Lagos with some kind of political carnival, the type of not seen recently, and the build-up to this primary. And again, the nation took note that, look, there probably is a new kid on the block, and he was very charismatic, the stadium packed, and I think from that day, everybody knew that, look, he has got the muscle, which is important in politics, he has got the money, he has got the followership, and of course, the message of taking back Lagos. So it wasn't a surprise that, initially there were those who opposed to him. We knew there were splits in Lagos, PDP, up to 2 or 4 factions, all working for maybe different actors outside Lagos. But we saw stepping down and, of course, an overwhelming victory. So it was a victory that many could easily predict because of Jandor's personal capability, his network, his rootedness in Lagos. But again, for APC, of course, Lagos has been APC stronghold, even though we are seeing some lessening of that hold. But again, this is still Lagos, this is still APC with Asiwaju on the running for primaries. Again, hopefully, if he becomes the candidate, that will strengthen Lagos. APC will be much stronger in Lagos. But look, what's clear from 2015, 2019 is that there is a spirited effort to prise Lagos out of the grip of Asiwaju and the APC. That effort had failed in the last 2 elections, but it's growing. The momentum is growing. And with a new kid in the block who has the gusto, who has the resources, who seem to have the, if you like, some sense of the recklessness to plunge in and to drive this, we might be, APC will witness a very stiff competition in 2023. for the soul of Lagos. And that would the outcome would turn on who is able, what's going to happen in the APC national, the realignment that we think will happen after primaries, and who is able to muster a greater force, and who has the best message right now. I think we are set for a big, stiff competition over the soul of Lagos. Maybe another Otego, or whatever it's called, could be in the offing in Lagos.
All right, you've mentioned Otoge. Let's see if that will be the case in Lagos State. But let's talk about the incumbents actually picking up tickets. Alamadu Fintiri from Adamawa, and not forgetting Seyi Makinde for your state. Talk to us about this. Do you think that they hold their states firmly and there is no shaking when it comes to them probably going to the polls come 2023?
I think primary is always a governor's game in the sense that, look, it comes down to the three ad hoc delegates in this case because of the new electoral act that excludes statutory delegates. And so the governors are entrenched. They control the network of patronage, of clientelism from the state to the local government. So you would assume that the governors got all their choice personnel on that three-man delegate. So it's no-brainer. It just happened. These guys are in charge of their party, their states, the governors, and the question now is, are they able to win against the opposition? So if you look at Adamawa, for example, Fitri obviously is in charge, and Adamawa is not ready now to go to a different party but PDP. So one can say, look, this is one of those bankables in terms of who's going to win. Seyi Makinde, clearly, one of the strong leaders in PDP, clearly the person in charge of the party in the state. Some people might argue whether it's part of his ebullience and charisma and initial media work, whether he has done a lot in terms of transforming the state. Some people think he has not done as much as he should have done, or he has fallen below expectation. But in terms of the PDP politics, he is arguably in charge of the Southwest PDP as it is, and working with somebody as powerful as Wike, the party, there was no chance he's not going to be the candidate. There was no chance he's not going to, win and win handily in his state.
Now, let's talk about the fact that most of the governorship candidates were allegedly handpicked, by the serving governors, that is, the outgoing governors. We saw that happen in Delta State. We saw that happen in River State and some other states. Now, what does this say about our electoral process in Nigeria? Does this actually give room for the best candidates to emerge?
No, it doesn't give room for the best candidate. And the reason is, we have threefold reason for this. First is the socio-economic environment. Look, poverty, despondence, joblessness. So what that means is that it has strengthened politics as neo-patrimonism. People have client principle. I'm the principal. You're the guy. Every other person, you serve them. Back to the Amala politics of then Adedibu or stomach infrastructure. So what this means, therefore, is that, look, the governors who are outgoing governors control the whole mechanism of favor, of patronage, and they determine who succeeds them. The second factor driving this is the party structure, the party organization. If you watch, these parties are basically empty shell. They are more like moribund until primary start. So nobody's contesting, nobody's funding the party. The party members are not financing their party. So every time the party leaders in Abuja go cap in hand begging the governors to fund the party. And so when it now becomes a sweepstake, the governors are the ones who fund the party, members are not active, and so suddenly it's a primary. Who is that person who is going to challenge the governor? So until we have a party system where party members own these parties and make financial contribution, which is what the new electoral act talks about membership register. We know the members, they're registered, they attend meetings, they pay dues, and then they can also fund the party.
Dr. Sam Amadi, permit me, for the brevity of time, to just chip this one in because we're actually out of time. Briefly, I want to hear from you. Of course, in Kano State, Muhammad Abacha has actually picked up the ticket for the People's Democratic Party, and he actually have overwhelming votes, I must actually say, from delegates. Talk to us about this. For those who have known and followed politics in Nigeria, the name Abacha is very, very, very popular. Vote for obvious reasons, if you understand me.
Well, clearly, anybody who was part of June 12, as some of us were in the trenches, knows Abacha doesn't mean good for democracy. But again, look, Abacha, even in his days as a dastard, as a very brutal dictator, was loved in Kano. And so it's not a surprise that a younger Abacha gets to be strong in Kano politics. This has been brewing for years. So here we are, with after some generation, Abacha is now a candidate of a major party to run for the governorship, and could, very possible, but for Kwankwanzo's influence, could become the governor of Kano. So I think in a way, PDP can argue that that's a strong person to match Ganduje's machine and now Kwankwanzo's machine. They have an Abacha machine, which is somewhat a notable Kano family. So here we go, recycling, going back to the old and not really having anything really transformative and new.
Right. Well, Dr. Sam Amadi, would like to say a big thank you for coming to join us on New State.